In today's video, we look at the case of a £100,000 contract hit. The hitman dressed as a Tesco delivery driver was sent by a UK gang. The gang took on the contract that was put out by a Dubai criminal boss, originally from Birmingham. The gang were paid £100,000 to do the hit. Then, the men paid £40,000 to get someone else to do it, with devastating consequences. We look into the hit, the police investigation, and the aftermath. The criminal underworld is rife with stories of unpaid debts, violence and revenge. One such case is a contract hit in Sheldon, Birmingham, on May 29, 2020. The victim in this case had been deeply involved in dealing in Birmingham and supplying Class A, as part of a broader network that reached the Middle East. Like many of the illicit business, the victim's relationship with his suppliers was built on trust. And when that trust was broken, due to unpaid debts, the victim had incurred a substantial debt to the Dubai mob boss, which he failed to repay. In the criminal underworld, an unpaid debt is not just a financial issue, it is seen as a sign of disrespect. The Dubai dealer decided to hire a professional hitman to eliminate the victim, using the killing as an example to deter others from reneging on their debts. He contacted a close associate in the UK, Elijah Stokes. Stokes put the Dubai mob boss in touch with Connor Palmer and Craig Miller, two violent and capable individuals, to carry out the contract hit. Connor Palmer, aged 40 from London, was a seasoned criminal with a history of dealing and violent offences. He was well versed in the brutal nature of the dealing world. Palmer's criminal record includes previous convictions for supplying Class A, possession of illegal firearms, and other violent offences. His willingness to kill for money made him a perfect candidate for the job. Craig Miller, 37 years old, had a similarly violent background. He was involved in another assassination plot alongside this case, which indicated his deep involvement in organised crime. Miller's criminal history included offences involving firearms and grievous bodily harm, showcasing his lack of hesitation when it came to executing violent acts. Elijah Stokes, 38 years old, acted as the middleman and facilitator for the murder plot. His connection to the Dubai mob boss ran deep, with Stokes serving as a trusted lieutenant responsible for overseeing the Dubai boss's UK operations. In this case, he procured the weapon and arranged the logistics for the hit, ensuring that everything was in place for Palmer and Miller to execute the plan. Unlike the other two, Stokes was not directly involved in the contract on the target, but played a crucial role in enabling it. The plot to murder the Birmingham man was straightforward in concept, but flawed in execution. After agreeing a fee of £100,000 with the Dubai mob boss, Palmer and Miller were expected to do the job, but then they subcontracted the hit to an unidentified shooter for £40,000. The hitman was supplied with a gun and car. The plan was for the hired gunman to disguise himself as a Tesco delivery driver, a tactic designed to allay suspicion and gain easy access to the victim's home. Wearing a Tesco branded jacket and carrying a high visibility vest, the gunman arrived at the target's home on May 29, 2020. He asked the woman if she was expecting a delivery, before adding, "He's here, isn't he?" The hitman forced his way in, walking into the house and shooting at the victim. The victim scrambled to dodge the gunfire, but was struck 3 times by 5 shots. Miraculously, despite the serious nature of the injuries, the victim survived. The shooter had failed to deliver a fatal hit. The hitman ran out the house, thinking his target was dead. The shooting was kept low-key by police and in the media. All that was revealed was the man had been shot and is in critical condition. The Dubai boss was not happy, and Palmer and Miller said if he survives, they'll get him when he's out of hospital. Weeks later, the Dubai boss ordered another hit through Miller, sending a photo with the caption, "That's him," to which Miller replied, "Clip's going in his head." That attack never took place. Victim to the Tesco jacketed hitman sustained injuries to his nose, the bullet passed through his palate and lodged in his neck. Another damaged the wall of his aorta artery and became stuck in his spleen. The victim suffered life-threatening damage to his liver, diaphragm and bowel. He required emergency surgery but survived and was back with his family 2 weeks later. He still has bullets lodged inside him that cannot be retrieved. The unravelling of the assassination plot was not due to a mistake made by the hitman on the day of the attack, but rather the success of the international police operation known as Operation Venetic. In early 2020, law enforcement agencies managed to infiltrate the encrypted messaging platform EncroChat, which had been widely used by criminals to coordinate illegal activities, including trafficking and contract killings. Through Operation Venetic, the UK police were able to intercept messages between Palmer, Miller and Stokes, as well as their communications with the Dubai boss. The messages revealed the intricate details of the assassination plot, including discussions about the price of the hit, logistics, and the involvement of a second target. In one intercepted message, Miller boasted about his intention to carry out a second assassination, stating that clips would be going in his head. The communication on EncroChat was also demonstrated that Palmer and Miller were not happy with their initial target had survived, but rather embarrassed of the failed hit. They quickly reassured the Dubai mob boss that they could complete the mission if given another opportunity. The interception of EncroChat messages provided police with irrefutable evidence of the conspiracy to murder. In June 2020, the police arrested Palmer, Miller and Stokes. The investigation revealed all three men had been involved in serious criminal activity for many years, and the failed assassination was only part of a broader pattern of violence and organised crime. The trial, which took place in Birmingham Crown Court, painted a stark picture of the cold, calculating nature of the three men. The prosecution outlined how Stokes had facilitated the murder by securing the gun and vehicle, while Palmer and Miller acted as enforcers, prepared to kill on behalf of the Dubai mob boss. The court also heard how the hitman had subcontracted the job to a third party, a move that ultimately led to the failed execution. All three men were found guilty of conspiracy to murder. The judge in the case, Justice Pepperell, described Palmer and Miller as professional hitmen and dangerous, who had shown no remorse or compassion for their actions. Both men were handed life sentences, Palmer with a minimum term of 23 years and Miller with a minimum term of 30 years, before being eligible for parole. Stokes, although not directly involved in the shooting, was sentenced to 27 years for his role in the conspiracy. He will be eligible for parole in 18 years. The case highlights the growing influence of international crime syndicates and the ease in which they can operate across borders. The Dubai-based boss, whose name remains undisclosed, was able to coordinate a murder plot in the UK with relative ease, thanks to modern technology and a well-established network of criminals. The use of encrypted communication platforms like EncroChat allowed him to maintain a level of distance from the crime, making it difficult for law enforcement to track him down. Furthermore, the involvement of Palmer, Miller and Stokes demonstrates how organised crime in the UK is often closely tied to international criminal networks. The use of professional hitmen and the involvement of a mob boss operating from Dubai underscore the complex web of relationships that underpin the global trade. While this case may have ended in failure for the criminals involved, it serves as a stark reminder of the lethal consequences of crossing the wrong people in the world of organised crime. The failed assassination attempt on the Birmingham dealer serves as a chilling example to the violent trade. The involvement of Connor Palmer, Craig Miller and Elijah Stokes in this plot highlights the lengths to which criminals will go to settle debts and enforce their authority. Though the money owed by the Birmingham dealer would not be recovered, the Dubai boss was ready to chuck $100,000 at the situation to end him. The actions demonstrated by that Dubai-based boss demonstrate the international reach of organised crime and the violent methods used to maintain control over the operations. While the victim in this case survived, the failure of the hit was not due to lack of planning or intent. Instead, it was the ineptitude of the hitman and the subsequent interception of their communications on EncroChat that ultimately led to their arrest and conviction of the 3 men involved. The life sentences handed down to Palmer, Miller and Stokes reflect the severity of their crimes and serve as a warning to others in the criminal underworld. The Dubai boss who orchestrated the plot remains at large. The hitman to this day has never been identified. What hit me about the case was the men accepting $100,000 to personally do a hit. The Dubai dealer wanted these men to do it because they were violent and capable, then for them to palm it off on a cut price hitman for $40,000. What's the old saying? It's one I used to say many moons ago. The cheapest quote is often the most expensive solution. The old ruse of a delivery driver, postman or food delivery. Anyone in the trade of dealing must be in constant panic when an Iceland food delivery turns up at the neighbours across the road. As I said earlier, the hitman has never been identified, and $40,000 cash can give you a hell of a head start. This case, it left me feeling the story to be incomplete. The hitman needed to be caught, and to add some closure. To best explain it, it's like the episode of Pine Barrens in The Sopranos. If you watched it, you will know what I mean. What I meant to say before my mind wandered is that justice is not always swift or complete, like how it is on TV. It's a murky world, and this hitman is another mystery we can add to it.